Hey guys, Tom here, Off Leash Canine Training. I'm at the pool in my neighborhood about to take a swim with my two kids. But before I do that, I'm going to do a quick video on crate training and potty training because they go hand in hand. I could do one on crate, I could do one on potty training, but why not kill two birds with one stone and do them both? You want to say hi? This is my daughter Amber, my little trainer in training. You can sit with me, but you can't interrupt me, okay?
Yeah.
Alright, so let's say you get a new puppy, or let's say you got one from the pound or whatnot, and it is just not potty trained. Potty training and crate training go hand in hand. You do you do crate training successfully, you're going to have a very well potty trained dog. In order to do potty training successfully, you're going to have a very well crate trained dog. So, first thing you're going to want to do is find the proper crate for your dog, for your size dog. Now, if you have a tiny teacup Yorkie, then your crate is probably going to be about this big. But if you have a tiny puppy that's the size of a Yorkie, but it's going to grow up to be 115 pounds, you're going to need to get a crate that can house a 115-pound dog. But what you're going to want to do, and this is important, is find a crate that has a divider. And most of the collapsible crates, the wire-looking crates, those are the ones that are going to come with a divider in the box. So I highly suggest those type of crates. One, because a divider splits that big old crate in half. So what it does is it's a divider that you can, let's say you have a tiny little puppy, you can make it so that your puppy is only staying in one part of the crate. And I'll talk about that in depth further. Thank you for asking that, Amber, because I'm sure there was viewers that had the same question, so good job. So that's the crate I suggest. It's beneficial because they collapse. You can take them to friends' houses, you can take them camping, stuff like that. The only downfall to those wire crates is they can get messy if a dog does soil the crate area. But in my opinion, it's worth it. Having to take the few minutes to clean up that mess, as opposed to the other type crates, you know, the ones that are really big and bulky and, you know, look like they're made out of fiberglass, and they split into two. Those are ones that people take on airlines and stuff like that. Those are great. But you can't put a divider in them. They're really easy to clean, but they are very bulky and they're just not convenient. So I'm going to go ahead and suggest that you get a wire crate. So you're going to want to find a wire crate that's going to fit your dog when your dog is full grown, and make sure that it does have a divider. That's really important. So the reason the divider is there is because when you're crate training a dog, you want to give him only access to the crate for him to be able to sit down, lay down, stand up, turn around, and lay back down. That's it. If he has the ability to crawl into a corner or just move around and have his own little mansion in there, that's not good, because what's going to happen is the dog is going to start to realize, wow, if I need to go pee or poo, I'm going to go pee or poo in that corner, and that corner every time, and then I'm going to come over here and lay down and take a nap, and life's good. So then what you get is a dog that ends up urinating and soiling in the kennel for his whole life because he has no reason not to. Now, if you think about it, if you put dogs out in the wild before they were domesticated and they're off in the woods and doing their own thing like wolves, they do not pee or poop where they sleep because they don't want to lay in it, they don't want to step in it. So that's really your goal during those beginning weeks of potty training, is making sure that if the dog has to go, and if he goes in the crate or the kennel, he's going to regret that he did it. Because he's going to be sitting in it, he's going to be standing in it, he's going to stand up the entire time until you get home, and he's just going to be hating life. So then that puts a little note in his head, well, darn, maybe next time I should try to hold it a little bit longer, because I don't want to end up standing in this and sitting in this. Think of it as with children. When you know, with babies, they wear a diaper, and they go, and it doesn't bother them because the diaper soaks it all in. But once they go from that diaper to a pull-up, the pull-up doesn't absorb nearly as well. So then they go and they're like, ugh, yuck, that feels weird. Ugh, they might get a rash or something too. So then they start to realize, with our guidance, they start to realize, maybe I should hold it. Maybe I should hold it until we get to the bathroom. Maybe I should hold it until my owners come through that front door and let me out and go in the backyard. So with that being said, I'll bring up puppy pads since we're talking about diapers and absorption. Puppy pads, I don't ever use puppy pads, because what do puppy pads do? They teach your dog and they build a habit in your dog of going inside the home. Unless you want your dog to go inside the home for the rest of your life and the rest of his life, don't use puppy pads. If you do, that's what you're sending the dog that signal is. You can go on the puppy pad in the corner of that house. Then they're always going to go in the corner of that house on that puppy pad. Now, most people that aren't utilizing the crate training in conjunction with potty training, they end up using those puppy pads, which is no good. Whenever I talk about potty training, I am always going to discuss crate training as well, because like I said, I'm going to say it again, they go hand in hand. But some of you might be thinking, oh, well, wow, maybe I'll put the puppy pads in the crate. Nope, that's a no-go, because you're doing the exact same thing. Imagine if you did follow my instructions and did take that divider and put it in the center, and then you put a little puppy pad there. What's going to happen? Your puppy's going to pee on it, it's going to absorb, it's going to dry up, no skin off his back, oh, it's a good day, he's just going to lay in it, and he's going to go to sleep, and he's going to love life. So it takes away from the whole aspect of him going and not enjoying it, and him going and regretting it. That's the goal. We want him to go in the crate and regret it and not want to do that again. Excuse me. So we'll recap what I just talked about. Divider, we want to make the divider as small as we can so the dog can sit down, stand up, turn around, lay back down. That's it. No no newspaper, no puppy potty pads, nothing like that. No dog beds either. A lot of people, when you start thinking of your dog as a person, that's where you start to go wrong. Dogs don't need dog beds, people. They don't. I mean, yeah, once your dog is completely trained and is out of adolescence and in adulthood, you can give the luxury of a dog bed. That's fine. But I tell you what, in my experience, all the dogs I've trained, all the dogs I've boarded on my personal dogs, you give them a dog bed and you give them a nice cold floor, they're going to lay on the floor. 9 times out of 10, they're laying on that floor. And most people that put a dog bed in the crate, the dog bed ends up getting demolished. So I get people that call me up, oh, my dog keeps eating the dog bed in his crate. He keeps eating. How can I fix this? Easy. Don't give your dog a dog bed. Obviously, if he's tearing it up, it must not be that luxurious and must not be that awesome for him to cherish it and lay on it and be comfortable with it. So you don't want to give your dog anything that he can destroy. You do want to give your dog something that he can play with, or something that's comfortable to him. A lot of people, they want to leave their scent inside the crate to reduce the level of anxiety. That's fine, you can do that. Just don't be surprised if you come back and your shirt's ripped to shreds. All right, so we've talked about buying the crate, putting a divider in the crate. Now let's talk about executing how to properly introduce this crate to your dog. That's the biggest one people mess up. What you don't want to do is buy that crate, bring it home, put it somewhere in your house, and push the dog into it, shut the gate and leave. If you do that, you're turning that crate into a prison, and that's not what we want. So many times people have called me and said, I would never crate my dog, that's like putting him in prison. Darn right, that's correct, if you treat it that way. If you treat it like prison, it's going to be prison for your dog. We don't want to do that. We want to get this crate to be your dog's home, place of zen, his comfort place. For example, my dog Odin, he was a rescue, super, super scared of everything when we got him. He still gets a little freaked out when my kids get loud and high pitched and start running around and playing. So where do you think he goes? He doesn't come to me, he doesn't come to my wife, he goes right up into his crate, lays down and goes to sleep, because that's his comfort place, that's his safe place. That's because he was properly crate trained. He was never forced into that crate. He was never shoved in there. It was never undelightful. It was never a negative experience. So you want that crate experience for your dog to be 100% positive all of the time. So what I mean by that is when you first get your crate, for the first couple months of crate training, that crate should be in the most trafficked area of the home. So the living room, that's a perfect spot, right? So you get a nice corner spot in the living room, and you introduce the crate to your dog just by setting it in his environment. That's it. Set it in his environment, keep the door open, that's it. Don't force it on him. Let him sniff it. Now you're probably thinking, well crap, this is going to take a couple days. It might take a couple days for your dog to get comfortable to it, but don't push it. All dogs are different. On the first day, you might get your dog walking right up to it, sniffing it. But what you can do to help this process is start feeding him every morning and every night. All of his meals are done inside that crate. You take his food bowl, you slide it to the back of that crate. You don't force him to go in there, but it's going to entice him to kind of investigate and encourage himself to get into that crate. And then once he does, while you're sitting there on the couch watching your TV shows, good boy Rocky, good boy, and just encourage that. You can do it with treats. The Kong is one of my favorite. You know, everybody's heard the whole peanut butter in a Kong, but to make it even better, you put peanut butter in a Kong and you freeze it overnight. Get that peanut butter rock hard. So rather than your dog licking it clean in 5 minutes, he's spending 30, 45 to an hour sitting there trying to clean that Kong, all doing it inside that crate. So you're positively associating that crate to good things. So that's really important. That is probably the most important thing I'm going to say in this video, is that crate should be 100% positivity all the time. You should never punish your dog and put him in the crate. Nope, nope, nope. Shouldn't do that. So my dog's 8 years old, 4 years old. They eat breakfast and they eat dinner in their crate. They love to go in their crate. When I say crate, they get in. Now, I'll touch on that. Every time you're trying to enticing your dog to get in that crate, you're going to create a word that you're going to want to utilize for the rest of your life to get Fido or Rocky or whatever your dog's name is into that crate. And you want the whole family to be on board. Some people use Kennel. Some people use crate. Some people use, I don't know, I'm having a brain fart. I can't think of other stuff. Some people, just for fun, they jail up, you know, or whatever, lock up. That's fine. You can use whatever you want. It doesn't matter, just as long as it's in a happy tone. So what you're doing is you're pairing the action with a word, right? And you're creating a habit. So eventually, all you're going to have to do is say, Fido, crate, boom, and he's going to go in the crate. Now, the only time I use treats for training is with crates, right? Because like I said, back to the whole, every time he's experiencing the crate, you want to be 100% positive. So if he's already eaten, if you don't have a Kong, use a treat, all right? Something to give him a reason to gladly go into that crate, all right? Boom, you throw it in there, crate, gets in the crate, give him the treat. So you repeat that daily, create a good schedule with routine, and you're going to start to see your dog start to like that crate, start to enjoy that crate. Now this whole time while you're doing that, you're also potty training, because you're also going to have that barrier up. If your dog's only 4 weeks old, the barrier is going to be up, and for the size of the dog. So if you have a 10-pound dog, a 10-pound puppy, the barrier is going to be small. But as he grows, as time goes on, you're going to increase the size of the barrier, and then eventually he's full grown, the barrier goes away, and then your dog is completely crate trained. All right, let's see here. Let me go through my mental checklists. What do we have next? So we've talked about the crate, we talked about the divider in the crate, we've talked about how to condition your dog to want to get into that crate by utilizing treats, Kongs, by feeding him every morning, feeding him every night. Now notice I did not say water. I didn't say putting water in there. I don't ever put water in the crate. It's not a good mixture, especially if you put water in the crate and then close the crate and leave. You're just filling your dog's bladder and setting him up for failure to go potty in the crate. All right, so now let's talk about duration. Right now we've talked about just getting him in to the crates successfully without him going nutso. And that could take a day, it could take 2 days, it could take a week. Now we're going to talk about duration, and there's a couple ways that you can do this. With duration, you start off low, right? You start off with 10 minutes. You put the dog, remember we said that the crate is in the living room, right? So you would get your dog to go in there, right? Eat breakfast, that's perfect time. You slide the bowl in there, he's eating his morning meal, and while he's digging in, eating, you close the gate, right? You don't make it a big deal, you just shut it. No big deal, walk away. So he doesn't even notice it. Then when he's done eating, he's going to turn around and notice, oh, mommy shut the door. Now, this is where you might wonder, oh no, he's crying, I need to pull him out. No. Do not open that crate if he's excited or crying. That is extremely important. If you do that, you're doing the same thing as, you get a baby in the kennel. I was going to say the crate. You get in the kennel. You get a baby in their crib, right? And if they start crying, if you're constantly walking up there and pulling him out of that crib, what's going to happen? You're going to get a baby that cries all the time and never self-soothes. We want the dog to self-soothe. So we want your dog to learn, okay, just because this crate is closed, I'm not going to be able to get out by crying. The only way I'm going to be able to get out is being calm, lay down, be quiet, and just do my own thing. So you can't set your dog up for failure and do this and have him in there for 3 hours, right, off the bat. 10 minutes, very small amount of time. But like I said, be sure not to open up that door until the dog is quiet, right? So in order for the door to open, he needs to be quiet. He needs to learn that being loud, crying, whining, scratching, biting at the crate is not going to get him out. The only thing that's going to get him out is him being calm, cool, collective, as Cesar Millan would say it, in a calm, submissive state. So start working with 10 minutes, right? You get a successful 10 minutes going, you open up the crate, give them a treat, and surprisingly, a lot of people are surprised by this. When you let him out of the crate, don't make a big deal about it, okay? Just let him out, that's it, walk away, go in the kitchen or something, then make a big deal about it, right? If you open that crate and make a huge deal about it, it's going to start creating anxiety in the dog. What's gonna happen is your dog, while he's in the crate, his brain's gonna start turning, and he's gonna start freaking out every time you walk near the crate because he knows you're gonna get excited. So you don't want to do that. You know, when I come home from a vacation, let's say I'm gone all day, right? I leave 7 in the morning, I get back at 8 o'clock at night. My dogs are in the crate for that long. Yes, you can have a dog in the crate that long if they're properly conditioned that way. So I get home, do I walk right in the door and go straight to my dog's crate? Nope, I leave them in there. And yeah, deep down, I want to get my dogs and I want to go give them my love and everything, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to open up the door of my house, I'm going to unpack all my suitcases, I'm going to walk back and forth by the crate over and over and over again. And what do my dogs do? They sit there. They just look at me. Because they know that I'm going to open that door when I feel like opening that door. Just because I walk through the door, the front door of the home, does not mean they're coming out of there. Now, if someone who constantly walks through their front door, lets their dog out like that, and gets all excited, you are going to create a dog that goes nuts every time they hear you drive up to the driveway, every time your keys jingle, every time the door opens. They're going to go ballistic. You don't want that. Imagine, then what's going to happen is your dog's going to do that all the time when people coming over, everything, and you're not going to be able to have a calm, submissive dog when you have guests over and whatnot. So you want to teach the dog that you can be in this crate, there can be movement, there can be activity in this home, and you can be calm, submissive, buddy. That's what you want, ideally, that's what you want. So when you get home, or when you pull your dog out of the crate, don't get excited, don't make a big deal out of it. It's just a normal thing. Same thing when you put the dog in the crate. Get his food, get a treat, put him in there, good boy, that's it, crate, good boy, walk away. So you're gonna start to build the duration, 10 minutes. Be successful 10 minutes, next time you do it, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And now keep in mind, right now, I'm talking about you still being in the home, right? You don't want to just use the crate for when you are gone. You want to use the crate to put your dog away while you're vacuuming, to put him away while you're mopping, to put him away when you have guests over and you're playing poker in the middle of the living room or you're having a feast. And you want him to just hang out in the crate and not bother anybody. So that's why we have the crate set up in the living room, and that is why right now we're talking about duration while you're home. So we're teaching him, yes, I'm home, and yes, you're going to be in the crate and you're going to be calm, submissive. That's what we want to do. In the beginning stages of this, you're utilizing his food to kind of keep his mind off of things. You can utilize the frozen Kong to keep his mind off of things. So you just work the duration up there. You know, once you get into 20, 30, 40 minutes while you're cleaning the house or whatnot, then you take it upon yourself, all right, let's go ahead and leave the house now. And a dog will know, you know, if you go upstairs, he knows you're upstairs. But if you go out the house, he knows you're out the house. So sometimes a dog can react much differently to this. So with technology these days, what we can do is, you know, if you're by yourself and you live alone, you just take your own phone, you can record it, and record the dog, right? So set up your phone near the crate, go ahead and do your thing, crate with a treat, put him in there. Don't make a big deal about leaving the home, just leave. Right? So you walk out and you can sit across the street or whatnot, sit there for 10 minutes. Then come back, walk in, don't make a big deal about it. Go ahead and grab your phone. Don't let him out of the crate. Wait a little bit, 5, 10 minutes. Wait till he's calm, submissive. Then get him out. And sit there and look at your phone, see what happened. Most likely, a few things could happen. He could freak out. That shouldn't happen if you're following all these steps I'm giving you. He might look a little anxious, you know, spinning around, looking around, scratching a little bit. It's new, you're completely gone. But what he needs to learn is you're gonna come back. And you did come back, right? And then he needs to learn that the only way he's getting out is by being calm, submissive. What a lot of people do is as soon as they walk through that door, boom, they go straight to the crate, they open the crate up, the dog goes nutso and he's super excited. And then you end up getting a dog that builds anxiety while you're gone because he's waiting for that door to open. He's waiting for those keys to jingle. He's waiting for that car to drive up in the driveway. You don't want that. So that was, 10 minutes out front, and then do it again, 20 minutes. Then actually do it and drive away, 30 minutes. And build up. Build that duration and keep using the phone, or be creative with it. I actually have a Nest Cam set up. I'm in my house. You know, that's going way up there, but you can be creative with it, have fun with it. So that's building duration. So we've talked about creating the crate. You know, we've talked about the divider. We've talked about positive association to the crate. We have talked about conditioning your dog to the crate while you're home. And then we've talked about starting to build duration when you leave the home. And now there's also building duration when you're upstairs sleeping at night, which at this point should be pretty easy because you've been able to go upstairs and vacuum and do all that stuff. So now, with this being said, working on duration while you're sleeping at night, that's where potty training really comes into play, because you're asking your dog to hold it for 30 minutes, hold it for 45 minutes, hold it for an hour and a half. And that's the way it works. You work in those increments. So let's paint the picture here. The night is coming to a close, and you're wrapping everything up. You fed the dog dinner, whatnot, la-di-da-di-da. And it's time for you to go upstairs or make your way into the bedroom. You could do the Kong thing. You could just grab a treat, just like you've been doing it for the past couple days. Put the dog in the crate. All right, close the crate, don't make a big deal about it, and then you leave. Now set a timer on your alarm clock or your phone or whatnot for, let's say, to start 30 minutes, right? So 30 minutes from now, I know this sucks, but this is part of owning a dog, just like having a baby. You know, you're not gonna get that much good sleep for the first couple nights, but it's worth it. Trust me, it's worth it to do this than have 2 years of a dog that's not crate trained and not potty trained. So you set a timer, 30 minutes later, walk out, bring him outside, and now we're gonna utilize the potty training part. You're gonna create a keyword: go potty, go pee-pees, go tinkle, whatever the case is. I use go potty, right? So you bring him outside, go potty, go potty, go puppy, go potty, and you just keep saying that over and over and over and over again. You wait 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Obviously there is a point where you're gonna say, all right, let's go back in. I'd say 20 minutes, let's throw that out there, 20 minutes. 20 minutes into it, Rocky doesn't go potty. Okay, bring him back in, put him back in the crate, same way we've been doing it. Go back upstairs, 30 minutes later, right back downstairs, do it again. Now what you're doing is you're creating, you know, this habit, and what you're doing is you're teaching the dog to hold it, and you're teaching him to go outside in the grass by using the word potty. And by doing this over and over and over again, it'll end up getting to the point where hearing the word potty will be a trigger, which gets your dog, you know, kind of like putting a kid's hand in warm water. You say potty, your dog goes to the bathroom. So second 30 minutes goes by, you take him outside, go potty buddy, go potty buddy. He sniffs around in the grass, blah, blah, blah. Once he does go potty, as soon as you see him start to relieve himself, good boy, good puppy, good boy. And you can praise that with a treat, right? Positive association. He did what you want him to do, so give him some positivity. Give him lots of, you know, positivity from you, positive reinforcement, and you can praise him with a treat, right? Good boy, good boy, good boy. Bring him back inside, put him back in the crate. Now let's, you know, you've done 2 30-minute sessions, let's go ahead and knock out a 45-minute session. 45 minutes. So you do this overnight. Let's say you do a couple 30-minute sessions, 45-minute sessions, and then you've gone through the night, you wake up, bam, you start your day again. You're gonna rinse and repeat that for as long as you can, but you're going, not as long as you can, as long as you need to. You're going to up those increments. Instead of it being 35 minutes, it's gonna be 45 minutes, 50 minutes, 50 minutes, an hour and a half, 3 hours, 6 hours, and then boom, you're going the entire night with your dog holding his, you know, pee or poo. Now, what if he goes in the crate? That's fine. The joy of this is you don't have to do any scolding, which I don't ever suggest ever. You don't have to do any communication with the dog really, because the way we have it set up is he's done it himself. He has pooed on himself. He's peed on himself. He's learned, oh crap, no pun intended, I need to hold this next time or else I'm gonna go all over myself. So if you come downstairs and he is gone in the crate, pull him out, bring him outside, clean him off, see if he has any more left to relieve himself. You're gonna have to clean the crate, obviously. That's what owning a puppy's all about. So clean that crate, put him back in there, and do it again. This is gonna sound weird, but you should want your dog to go on himself a few times. I know that sounds weird, but think about it. When you transition a child from diapers to pull-ups, that's the goal. So they realize it's uncomfortable and they don't want to feel that sensation anymore, so they hold it. So when you come downstairs and you got a smelly crate and a smelly, whatever, put a smile on your face, man. I know it's hard, but that means that the dog is going to get it. That means the dog is getting it. Think about it. If the dog never ever went on himself, he never would learn not to go in the crate. So that's when I backtracked and I said I've left my dogs in the crate for 10, 11, 12 hours a day. Yeah, and they do it successfully. I only do that when I absolutely have to, and I don't have somebody to come over and watch them or whatnot, but they'll hold it. But as soon as I get home, I take them right outside, I take them on a walk, I take them on a hike, I exert their energy, but they are so well trained by utilizing this system that they know I need to hold it. Dad will come home eventually. I'm not going to live in here forever. I trust my owner. I need to hold this. And then once, obviously I can tell they need to go, because the first thing they do is run towards the back sliding glass door, and then they go. And then I take them out and I'm active with them. Now, if your dog goes to the bathroom in the crate, like I said, he's punishing himself. So don't worry about, bad dog or anything like that. Now, if you having a puppy, and even a full-grown dog, if it's from a shelter or whatnot, it's all about supervision. It is all about you supervising your dog. If you are still trying to train your dog and you let him have full reign of that house, you're wrong. Because that means he can go into the corner, pee and poo, you're not going to find it for a day or a freaking week or until you start smelling it. You should be able to turn your head and see your dog at all times. Another tip or trick is put a little cat bell on your dog, on your puppy. So that way, if you can't see them, you know where they're at. You can at least know where they're at. The reason I'm getting at is you got to think of it like this. If you don't catch your dog in the act, you can't punish them or can't communicate to them that it's wrong. Because 5-10 seconds goes by and you try to do that, they have no clue what's going on. They don't know why you're doing it. So supervision is key. Well, if you have a very small puppy, build a little playpen for them, and that's where they need to be. And when you see them start to go, you are going to, as a family, collectively, you are going to create a phrase that is a negative phrase. Cesar Millan uses Cesar Millan uses or you can use I use You want it to be a word that is not something the dog's going to hear throughout the day in your conversations with other human beings. And what you do is, it should be a word that's going to get your dog's attention. You can clap your hands, that's fine. That clapping your hands is another good one. But your goal is to get the dog from going psst to redirect his attention. And then you can grab him, take him outside, go potty, go potty, go potty, go potty, go potty. Oh, good boy, good boy, good boy, good boy. So you want to be able to catch your dog in the act. Well, quick location change there, guys. I ran out of data on my stick, so I had to go home, change the data card, and come back here. Anyways, constant supervision. If you don't see your dog go potty, if you don't see your dog actually soil or whatnot, chalk it up as a loss on you. That means you weren't supervising it, you weren't doing your job as a puppy owner supervising that. So constant supervision, extremely important. Make sure you have your eyes on the dog at all times. If you see them go potty, use that negative word to get their attention, pick them up, bring them outside, praise, praise, praise once they do go. All right, guys, I think that wraps it up. I hope that was helpful for those of you trying to learn how to properly potty train your dog, how to properly execute crate training and do it all correctly. There's a link at the bottom, should be right here somewhere. That's our website. Off Leash Canine is a huge location. If you're maybe on the East Coast and watching this video, or Midwest, anywhere in the United States, check us out. Our main hub website, offleashcaninetraining.com. My name's Tom McGovern. I personally run the California locations, Orange County, Riverside, San Diego, and Sacramento. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Shoot me an email, tom@offleashcaninetraining.com. Hope everybody has a great day.